Dawn broke across the Kruger National Park in South Africa. The morning sun shone through the dense foliage of the acacia trees, illuminating a semi-wild area where a female leopard had just given birth to 6 cubs in a secluded corner of her breeding territory. This was a specially designed area for the reproduction of wild animals with minimal human intervention. The newborn leopards, with their pale yellow fur dotted with black rosettes, huddled close together, seeking warmth. The mother leopardess licked each of her cubs, cleaning them and stimulating their circulation. When she reached the youngest, she lingered longer. This cub was half the size of his brothers and sisters. His body was frail, shaking with every movement. While caring for the youngest, the mother leopardess noticed an unusual swelling in the groin area, a sign of a congenital inguinal hernia. A look of alarm flashed in her eyes. Even in the protected environment of the park, the weaklings faced many challenges to survive. For the first week, the mother leopardess cared for all 6 cubs. She ate the food provided and hunted small game in the permitted area to ensure that she had enough milk for the rapidly growing litter. The 5 older cubs were developing well, but the youngest continued to grow slowly. He drank less milk and often curled up in pain when moving. When his siblings frolicked in a dark corner, the youngest often lay motionless, watching with large round eyes full of curiosity, but unable to join in. The leopardess's survival instinct told her that investing too much energy in a cub with little chance of survival could threaten the safety of her entire litter. Even in Kruger Park, this was a difficult but necessary decision, one that many mothers in the animal kingdom faced. One afternoon, as the sun began to set, the leopardess suddenly became alert. The scent of a male hyena wandering nearby, perhaps from another part of the park, crossing an invisible boundary. This was a serious threat. Hyenas often kill the cubs of other species to eliminate future competitors. Without time to think, the leopardess decided to move her litter to a safer place. She grabbed one cub in her teeth and began the transfer. One by one she returned for each one, until only the youngest remained. When she returned for the last time, she looked at her little cub, lying motionless, breathing weakly. The roar of the hyena was getting closer. It was the decisive moment. The mother leopardess made the heartbreaking but necessary decision to leave her youngest to save the other 5. With one last look of regret, she turned and disappeared into the gathering darkness, leaving her youngest cub alone in a dark corner of the breeding area. The little leopard cub lay curled up, shivering with cold and fear. Outside, the heavy footsteps and growling of a hyena were getting closer. He tried to stand up, but the pain in his groin made him fall. Without the protection of his mother, the leopard cub faced certain death. Night fell quickly, and with the darkness came a desperate loneliness. The hours dragged on like centuries for the tiny creature. Hunger began to torment him. But the leopard cub could do nothing but lie still and wait. In Kruger Park, despite human supervision, wildlife still reigned, and the fate of the weak remained precarious. The next morning, a glimmer of hope appeared as the first rays of sunlight illuminated the area. The leopard cub was still alive, although weak and hungry. He tried to make a weak sound, hoping that his mother would return, but only the wind answered. His fate seemed sealed. Surviving a second day without mother's milk was almost impossible for a newborn leopard with a birth defect. Not far from here, a female African lioness with a golden coat was hunting in her territory in the park. She was the only one in a local group of lionesses who was currently raising her cubs. 3 weeks ago, she gave birth to 5 cubs and hid them in a safe place nearby. Unlike Asiatic lions, African lions live in large prides, but females often hunt alone when raising young cubs. This morning, rangers released a zebra into the lioness's hunting area. This was part of a conservation program aimed at maintaining the natural hunting instincts of animals in the reserve. After hours of stalking, the lioness finally brought down her prey. Now she was dragging the zebra carcass to the place where the hungry lion cubs were waiting. Her path took her past the breeding ground, where the abandoned leopard cub lay. As she passed, the lioness suddenly stopped. There was a strange smell in the air, the scent of another big cat, but also the scent of a young creature. Her hunting instinct made her wary, but another instinct, the maternal one, woke up. The lioness left the prey and headed for the zone. She entered cautiously, prepared for any danger. Instead, she found a tiny trembling creature, a leopard cub with black rosettes standing out against its pale yellow fur. Remarkably, lion cubs also have spots at birth, especially on their forehead, paws and belly, creating a resemblance between the two species. The leopard cub saw the lioness and curled up, waiting to die. But something strange happened. Instead of attacking, the lioness began to sniff the leopard cub. Perhaps the signals from the leopard cub, sounds, posture, feeding behavior, and especially the presence of spots, triggered the maternal instinct in the lioness. Instead of a potential enemy, she saw a child in need of help. The leopard cub, too weak from hunger and thirst, let out a weak cry, very similar to the cry of a lion cub when it is hungry. This cry seemed to be the final catalyst. The lioness began to lick the leopard cub, cleaning and stimulating its blood circulation, just as she did with her own cubs. After some time, the lioness made a strange, but instinctive decision. She gently grabbed the leopard cub by the scruff of the neck and lifted it up. Instead of returning to the kill, she carried the leopard cub to where her cubs were waiting. Animal behavior experts later explained that caring for young is an instinctive reflex, a kind of fixed pattern of action honed by natural selection and experience over time. As the lioness entered her zone with the leopard cub, her 3-week-old cubs looked curiously at the strange creature. They were old enough to notice the difference, but not old enough to see it as a threat. The mother lioness gently placed the leopard cub among her cubs and went to retrieve the abandoned kill. The leopard cub, still scared at first, gradually relaxed as he realized there was no immediate threat. The cubs approached, sniffing and licking the leopard cub, accepting him as a new member of the group. Soon the leopard cub was lying among his lion brothers and sisters, enjoying the warmth of their bodies. When the mother lioness returned with the kill, she saw an amazing sight. The leopard cub had been accepted into the group of lion cubs. She pulled the kill closer and began to tear at the meat. The cubs came to eat, and the leopard cub tried to follow, although he was still too young to eat the meat. Noticing this, the mother lioness pushed the cubs away and lay down, allowing the entire litter, including the leopard cub, to feed. This was the key moment. The leopard cub was officially accepted into the lion family. Kruger Park rangers, monitoring the situation via remote cams, did not interfere with this rare natural phenomenon. They decided to observe and record, considering it a valuable opportunity to study animal behavior and instincts. Over the following days, a strange family unit formed in Kruger Park. A mother lioness, 5 lion cubs, and 1 leopard cub lived together as a complete family unit. The mother lioness treated the leopard cub as her own, feeding it, cleaning it, protecting it, and even teaching it basic skills. The leopard cub, although still smaller and weaker than its lion siblings, began to gain weight and strength. The lioness's milk provided it with enough nutrition to develop, although not as quickly as a normal leopard. The inguinal hernia was still there, causing it to move slowly, and sometimes painfully, but it no longer posed an immediate threat to its life. The lion cubs accepted the leopard cub as a member of their group. They played together, practiced hunting, and slept together. Sometimes the lion cubs were too rough with the fragile leopard cub, but the mother lioness always intervened in time to protect him. To the lion cubs, the leopard cub was just another brother. On the large rocks where the lion family often rested, the leopard cub and his lion siblings created a memorable picture. They climbed up and down, chasing each other through cracks in the rocks. The leopard cub, with the natural climbing instinct of leopards, sometimes demonstrated greater agility than his lion siblings in climbing, despite the limitations of a hernia. At the top of the rock, the group often basked in the sun, where the leopard cub stood out among the golden bodies of the lion cubs, with his characteristic black rosettes. In the afternoons, the mother lion would often watch her cubs play in the nearby grasslands. The leopard cub, although weaker, still tried to engage in game hunting, an important part of big cat development. The cubs would pretend to attack by rolling around in the grass, while the leopard cub would try to imitate with his limited abilities. Sometimes he would hide in the tall grass, using his natural spotted coat for camouflage, a leopard instinct, before jumping out and surprising his lion siblings. The combination of the leopard's instinctive behavior and the lion's habitat created a unique scene in the natural world. Rangers at Kruger Park closely monitored the development of this special family. They recorded every interaction, learning about how social bonds form between different species. This discovery opened up new insights into the flexibility of maternal instinct and the adaptability of the wild. However, despite good care, the cub's congenital inguinal hernia remained a serious problem. The rangers discussed medical intervention but decided against it, wanting to observe the natural process and avoid stressing the lion family. After about 50 days of living with the lion family, the cub began to show signs of weakness. He ate less, slept more, and played less with his lion siblings. The mother lioness seemed to notice this and spent more time near him, licking him and trying to encourage him to eat. On the 55th day, the leopard cub died in its sleep. With no signs of external trauma, rangers concluded that it had died from complications of a congenital inguinal hernia, rather than from attack or abuse. The mother lion did not exhibit any harmful behavior towards the leopard cub during its care. Instead, she groomed it, fed it, shared food with it, and allowed it to play with her biological cubs. The mother lion reacted to the death of the leopard cub in a remarkable way. She lay next to the body for many hours, occasionally licking it as if trying to wake it up. The cubs also seemed confused, walking around the leopard cub's body, sniffing it, and even trying to play with it. This was proof of the bond that had formed between the members of this special family. Eventually, following the laws of nature, the mother lion was forced to leave to hunt for her remaining cubs. Only then did the rangers intervene, taking the leopard cub's body to be examined and determine the exact cause of death. The autopsy confirmed that the leopard cub died from complications of a congenital inguinal hernia, leading to intestinal obstruction and internal infection. Although the story ended sadly for the leopard cub, he lived his last days in care and love, rather than dying alone and in pain. The mother lion and her cubs continued their lives in Kruger Park, but the story of this special family has left a deep mark on the conservation community. The rangers published their observations in a prestigious scientific journal under the title Interspecific Adoption Between African Lions and Leopards, a study of maternal instinct. The paper attracted widespread attention and spurred new research into social behavior and instincts in wildlife. The rare event also raised awareness of the importance of preserving endangered big cats in Africa. Both African lions and leopards are rare species in need of protection, and the story of a bond that transcended species boundaries created a new wave of support for conservation efforts. For scientists, the phenomenon opened up new questions about the flexibility of instinct and animal adaptability. If a female lioness could accept and raise a child of another species, what does this say about the nature of maternal love and social bonds? For the public, the story of the leopard cub and his adopted lion family became a symbol of love that transcends all barriers. She reminded us that even in the harsh world of the wild, there is room for compassion and connection. In Kruger Park, at the spot where the mother lion met the leopard cub, there was a small plaque with a simple message. Here in 2024, a lioness taught us a lesson about love without boundaries. It was a reminder of a special story that happened here. The stories of a little spotted one among lions. The lion cubs, now much larger, sometimes still searched for their other brother. They did not understand the concept of death, but seemed to sense the absence. The mother lion, with her strong survival instincts, continued to raise her cubs, preparing them for the wild world. But there was sometimes a look in her eyes, as if searching for something lost. As the cubs grew older, the story of their spotted leopard brother became a fading memory and eventually disappeared entirely. But for those who witnessed and recorded this rare event, it remained forever a reminder of the power of instinct and love, things that can overcome even seemingly insurmountable barriers. The story of the leopard cub and the lion family in Kruger Park was not just a rare biological event, but carried profound implications about the relationship between instinct and environment, between love and survival. Years after the event was recorded, scientists, conservationists, and animal lovers still frequently cited it as a remarkable example of the complexity of the natural world. The phenomenon of interspecific adoption, especially between species that are normally predators and competitors in nature, illuminated the fine line between primitive instinct and adaptability in animals. The lioness's maternal instinct had overcome evolutionary barriers of millions of years, triggered by simple but powerful signals, the cry of a young creature, the markings on her body similar to her own cubs, and perhaps a deep need for care and protection. Many comparative studies have been conducted in scientific journals between this phenomenon and other cases of interspecific adoption in nature. From dolphins adopting humpback whales, to baboons caring for wildcat kittens, or wolves raising bear cubs, they have all shown the amazing ability of motherly love to transcend species boundaries. However, the case of the lioness and the leopard cub was still considered special because of the natural antagonistic relationship between these two big cat species in the wild. A heated debate raged in academic circles about whether this was an example of an adaptive error, when a behavior developed by natural selection to respond to a specific situation is triggered in a different context, leading to results that may not be beneficial to the organism? Or was it evidence of the extraordinary flexibility of instinct, a form of natural intelligence that allows animals to adapt to unexpected situations? For conservationists, the story became a powerful educational tool in wildlife conservation programs around the world. The image of a leopard cub among a pride of lions was used to illustrate the complexity and beauty of the natural world, inspiring generations of young conservationists. It was also a reminder that every individual in nature has a role and value, regardless of species or origin. More profoundly, this phenomenon raised philosophical questions about the nature of love. If a lioness could overcome instinctual barriers to care for the offspring of another species, what did that say about the capacity for empathy and love? Animal psychologists began to rethink traditional definitions of love and compassion, concepts often considered exclusive to humans. In the context of the global biodiversity crisis, this story carried another powerful message. As species continue to disappear from our planet at an alarming rate, every complex relationship in nature that is broken is an irreparable loss. The African lion, with only a few thousand individuals left in the wild, and the leopard, although more common but also facing habitat loss, are both in need of protection, not only for their ecological value, but also for their ability to provide new insights into the natural world. For humans, creatures that pride themselves on their intelligence and morality, this story was also a humble reminder. If a lioness could overcome deep evolutionary barriers to care for a creature of another species, what else can humans do with all their intelligence and technology to overcome their self-imposed barriers? In a world increasingly divided by artificial differences, this story of love without borders carried a particularly powerful message. The leopard cub's short life, although it ended sadly, left a deep and lasting impression. He proved that even in the harshest circumstances, love can sprout and grow. He showed that instinct and environment are not always opposing forces, but can sometimes cooperate to create magical moments. Friends, thank you for taking the time to read this story. If it touched your heart, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel to support us. See you in the next stories about wildlife.